So you can see there I've got this image showing the front facade, and you have this stepped parapet. And so if you haven't worked with a parapet before, a parapet is simply a wall that rises above the roof. And so it has the roof behind the wall instead of the roof being above the wall as it is on the side and at the rear. So it's just the front wall that has a parapet. And when you create the wall in Revit to give it this raised section, by default it will come up the way that it's showing there. So you can see here we've got the wall joining on the left with the that front wall extending all the way to the corner, but on the right it stops on the inside face of this side wall. And that's normal. It's all to do with the direction that you draw the wall. So I'm going to show you in plan. You'll see if you select any of those walls why that happens. If I select this wall here, you can see that the side wall extends in blue all the way to the end. But if I select the front wall at the bottom here extends to the end, and the side wall stops at the corner or at the face of that wall. And again, because we drew this wall clockwise, it's turned out that way. But you can change that setting anytime after you make the wall. So I'm going to go to the top corner there, and just in plan, make sure I can see the join where those two walls connect. And then on the Modify tab, and by the way, this can be in any floor plan, ground floor or level 1, doesn't matter. So again, under Modify, you'll find the Wall Joins tool. So it's one of those tools you probably haven't used yet, but really useful. Wall Join. So it's in the Geometry panel, and you'll see with the button, the Demolish button, it's like a hammer, and Join, and Cope, and Cut, all those buttons together. And then Wall Joins is the one that has the corner with a pencil, so on the Modify tab. So not the Modify button, you've got to go to the Modify tab at the end. Yeah. Top right. Yep. Wall Joins. So in the Geometry panel you'll find it next to the hammer. And so once you choose Wall Joins, then you need to hover over the join that you want to work with. So you can see there I'm just moving over that corner to bring up the square that comes up around it. I'm going to click then once it's got that square, and you'll see that it'll show you the join between those walls with a line that's coming across from the corner. Yeah, it is the black line, that's right, yeah. So all you need to do is to click Next up on the options bar. Yep, click on the corner, that's right. Zoom in so you can see it maybe, and yep, that's got it. Yep, and then you'll see on the options bar you've got the Next button. So, yep. You've got to click on Wall Joins to begin with. Yep. And then make sure you see that square. Yeah. Yep. Alright, I'll have a look at it in a second. It should be up. So here, you just try clicking Next anyway if you've got that option. Yeah. So I'm going to do that, and you'll see then that this line should go vertical. Vertical. Yeah. Yeah. And so you should only have two options. So clicking Next will give you the second option, and really as long as you've selected that wall join, it should change to give you a vertical line.
So I've got, my line's still red.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The red lines are the reference planes.
Oh, it didn't go. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So if you click to one side, it'll deselect it. So that's okay.
Okay.
And you'll know then that it's working because if you go back to your 3D view, you should then see that that wall extends all the way across.
I haven't got a 3D view.
I'll just click on the house. Yep. Yep.
And then
So once you click Next,
Yep.
do you actually do save or anything?
No. Yep, that's done. That's right. Yep. So it's that easy. And so then, before we put in the steps, so afterwards we'll be able to change the shape of that wall to put in those steps for the parapet by using a special tool that lets you do that. But before we do, got to put the roof structure in.
So that, what we just did then, just straightens up the wall and joins it together. Like
Yeah, and extends the front wall to the corner or to the end of that. Exactly. Extends the whole way across. Yep. And we need that before we can change the shape of it. And so I'll just show you the next step, and then I'll give you some time to work generally on this. And so the next thing is to get the roof structure in, which will give us the angles for that parapet. And that you need to get from a new file. So I've been showing you can use load family to get in lots of different library parts, but this one you can't bring in this way, or you can't bring in that way with load family. You've got to use the open option just the way you'd open any file. So just go to the main menu, don't choose any sub-menu option.
Are we on architecture now?
Yeah, just on the big yeah, that's right, which brings up the main menu. And here, if you go down to open, you'll see it'll give you lots of different options. Just ignore those and click on the button that says open. So in other words, right where it says open, just click there. Yep. And that will give you the option to open any kind of file instead of just a certain kind. So we've got to then browse up the top to the P drive. That's right, interior design and then CAD 2. Yeah. So yep, P at the top, student resources, interior design and then CAD 2 and data and warehouse, yep. And then you'll see quite a few files. There are lots of different things we're going to bring in, but the roof structure, here we go. I'll just rename that. It should be and, not think. So yeah, roof structure and ceiling. Yep, double click on it to open it. You'll see when you select it, you'll get a preview that, oh geez, great. Oh, sure, no worries, yep, sure.
Continue open the file.
Yeah, exactly, yep. Yep, so you might get a message about it being read only, that's fine. Yeah, just say yes. Yep. Yeah, just try opening it again. Yeah, just close that and just try opening. Yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. So have a look at it if it's open for you, and you'll see it's got the ceiling lining underneath, and then the rafters and the collar ties above. So it's the whole roof structure, and you can just orbit it around to look at that. Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's right. So, yes, I don't expect you to be able to make this at this stage, but look, you'll find once we start doing furniture modelling that you'll easily be able to make something like this. Yep, it's really just, you've got the rafters, which go one way, and then you've got some other rafters that are going at 90 degrees to those, but they're basically the same shape, just rotated and cut. The ceiling's a bit more complicated, but if you've got an idea about your design and you know that you're not going to keep that ceiling, if you want the rafters to be exposed, delete it from here before you copy it across. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
click on it and delete.
Yep.
And if you only wanted the middle raft, just delete the
Well, just, yeah, sure. So, yeah, just orbit so that you can hold down shift and press the middle mouse button, and that's a better way of orbiting than, so, instead of using the cube. Yep.
So, that isn't taking away the actual roof lining or anything? That's just taking
No.
away
Yeah, so I made the ceiling as well because, again, that's a fairly tricky thing to create at first. So if you want the rafters exposed, though, you don't need it, and you can just select it, delete it, and then you can have exposed rafters. So this method that you're going to use to bring it into your project is pretty typical in Revit, actually. What we're doing is transferring from one project file to another. And there you can see I've just selected any of those rafters. They're all one object. And if you want, the rafters are the diagonal elements, by the way. So these things left and right are rafters, and then the horizontal elements are collar ties. Yeah.
That's a rafter.
Yeah.
What are the flat ones called?
Collar ties. Yeah.
So when you go into like more modern houses that have the rafters,
Yep.
oh, that's because they go up to the thing, don't they? They call them exposed.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Collar, same as, yep. And ties, just like, yep. So they tie the structure together, basically. They stop the rafters from separating. So it is a one object, so you can just select it. And then the trick here, I'll do this a couple of times. That's right, it is. That's exactly right. You copy and paste. And so there's a more correct way of doing it with the Revit tools that they give you, but that method is, the more correct method is more difficult than just copy and paste. So that's what I usually show people, just use this. Oh yeah, you don't get on the right click menu, so you've just got to go to the clipboard panel, and you'll see there it's got cut, copy and paste together. So copy is the one with the 2 pages, just below the scissors up on the ribbon there, yep. And you know it's worked because the paste button will come on once you've clicked on it.
So where do you, how do you, what where do you go to?
Well, so yeah, you do need to select it first, and then you'll get that clipboard panel where you can choose copy to clipboard. So as long as you've clicked on that copy to clipboard button, then you can go to the other file. So remember, this is a different file. We've got to go back to the file that we want it to go into. And so here, this is good practice just doing file management, because you've got the button at the end on the little quick access toolbar right at the top, just before the black down arrow. That's right, the one that's got a couple of windows on it and a little arrow. Yep, click on that, and then you can switch back to any view, doesn't matter which one. No, as long as you switch into that file. So I've got here Balmain Warehouse, and I've got quite a few views. Exactly. Yeah. So now we're back into the file with everything else. And then we want it to go onto the level at the top of the wall. So we made that level called top of wall, TOW. So I'm going to open that from floor plans.
Mine doesn't have anything.
No, you haven't got it ceiling.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so watch out. Yeah, you've got ceiling plans with the same names. Yeah. And so now, not ceiling plans, so in floor plans. Yep. And then you need to go to the Modify tab to find that paste button again. And so here you don't need to click onto the arrow under paste, just click on the top part of the button above the line. Yeah, it should be there. Oh, yeah. Oh, so that just means you haven't changed tabs. That's fine. No, if you're already there, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, you've got to go to the Modify tab. You unmassing inside.
Oh, why do I keep doing that?
Yeah. That means you haven't copied it. So, yeah, so I'll come over in a minute and have a look. So if you can click on paste, then, yep. So the top of it, above the arrow, so you'll see there's a line dividing the button in half. Just click on the top half of it. And then you should see all of the structure come in. It might take a second. Oh no, so there it's not visible. That's okay. Just click somewhere. Yep, and it's going to tell you yep, that's right. Again, you'll probably get a warning telling you none of the objects are visible. Yeah. That's fine. So I'm going to close that warning, and on the ribbon just click finish. And so it must be too high because, yep, and that's normal. So because we copied it from a 3D view.
So click finish?
Yep. And you'll find it if you go into an elevation, and you'll see that it's just a bit too high. It's also got to be rotated, so I'll show you how to do that as well. The first, into any elevation view, and you should be able to see it above the building. So the first thing, exactly, yep. So you can select it, and then using the arrow keys, move it down. So just using the down arrow to bring it down closer to the building.
So just click on it to move it as you want.
Yep.
Mine's a way over as well.
Yep. That's fine. So you can also just click and drag to move it. Yep. That's right. Yep. The arrow keys to nudge it. Later on, yep. Just select it, and then using the arrow keys you can move it down, or you can just click and drag on it as well. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
One needs to be rotated.
Click and drag it.
Exactly. Yes. So we'll go into the view from above. So
where should you put it? Where should you
I'll just get it close to the top. We'll get it accurate once you. Yeah.
I don't need to worry at the moment that it's on the wrong way.
No.
Bring it down.
Yeah, bring it down, and then we'll get it sitting right on top of the wall after we rotate it. So if you go to the site plan, so that's a useful one. You might not have used that very much either as well. In your floor plans, you'll have site, which should view from above.
Oh my God.
And so as long as you can see it above your building, then you can press space, and that will flip it. Space on your keyboard. Yeah, space bar. Yep.
Wasn't expecting that.
So in your floor plans, yep, you'll find site.
Wait, which side is supposed to be?
Okay, so that's the wrong way, because remember we've got the front on the right. So these extra rafters that are at 90 degrees need to be at the back. So I'm going to press space 2 more times.
Really?
Yep.
So you want the back bit at the back?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So those angled rafters are for the hip section of the roof that's sloping down at the back. Yep. So space on the so that's. Oh yeah, so you can keep moving it with the arrows, but now that we can see that it's at the right angle, we can move it more accurately. So moving with the arrows and also just clicking and dragging is good to move things roughly, but if you want to move things more precisely, you have the move tool, just like in AutoCAD. So make sure it's still selected, and then you can click on the move button on the modify panel at the top. Yeah, it's fine, just select it again and yep.
So where's the move?
Yep. So this is the last thing, and if you've got any issues, I'll come and have a look at them in a second. So if you have it selected, click move, and then you need to pick it up on the corner at the front. So the top or the bottom, but the bottom is maybe easier, so I'll be doing. Yeah.
So I could like do on line, click on the line?
No, on the object. Yep.
Get a little square
Yep, that's right, on the endpoint.
where you take it to.
So then, once you've picked it up there, you need to go to the corner of the building just behind that front wall that we've extended down.
And then what happens?
So then it should check to see at the top, and we can see that it's actually sticking out. So that means that the building is a different size. Yeah, I had a feeling we'd change the dimensions this year. So what are we going to do? Or is it, sorry, is it meant to stick out? I can't remember if I had the structure projecting. No, I didn't.
Change out size of that.
Yeah, so let's see. So that's absolutely okay because we can just change. Yeah, so 300 is the change, and at the back.
It's easier to change the house than change the roof.
It is. So has Anna said that you need to have those exact dimensions, or
No one said
is it flexible?
exact dimensions, have they? I mean, we've made a
I
white
think
model.
everything comes from here anyway, this picture that one that we present.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, our
Yeah.
drawings are going to be these.
Yeah.
So whatever.
I mean, we
So-
made white models to this.
Yeah, I think we can say that the building can be bigger, and if Anna wants the design to be with the original measurements, then we can change it later and make the roof smaller.
Yeah, I think we should make it bigger.
Yeah. So that's good. And so then you'll see why it's really useful to have these reference planes, because you can start by selecting one of those.
Reference plane?
Yep. Change the dimension there so that it's 300 bigger, so that would be 7200.
On the
So that is going to be the new internal measurement. And now we want this wall to move onto that reference plane.
So just drag it, or
Yeah, 7200. Yep. Oh, so when you, just by selecting the reference plane. So here I've just put it back. So yep, when you select that reference plane, even in the site plan. Yep.
so do you just drag the wall? Or?
You can, but I'll show you an even better way. So
So you're changing it from 1600.
so 6900 it should be.
So yours has gone up. Before it was on the
It has, yeah, it used to be there.
Well, I'm changing the reference plane first, and then I'm going to move the wall to follow it. Because it's good to have the reference planes just to establish that dimension. Later we'll... Yeah, well, we're going to make it 7200. Yeah. Yeah. Which is the way we did it last time, and that's why the roof I've done is that size. So I think we can keep it the original size. Oh no, we've got to move the walls after that. So now you can use the align tool. So in the modify panel, you see the first button there is align, the one with the two rectangles, the big and the small rectangle.
Then we're going to move the internal.
So if you click on that, then select the reference plane that you've just moved, and then click onto the inside face of that wall, and that'll move it up to line up with the roof.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Yep, sure, so I'll do that again. Okay, so you've got align in the modify panel.
Quiet.
Yep, which is the first of those big buttons above move, basically. So it's the big and the small rectangle above the move button. And then you need to select the reference plane that you've just moved. And then click onto the inside face of that wall that you want moved onto it. Yeah. That's a really useful tool for adjusting things. Yeah, leave that. Yep. 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 Align, so just above the move button. Yep. Reference plane first, and then the inside face of the wall, so the bottom of that wall that you want to move.
Accurate way.
And then on the back you would do.
Yeah, that's right. So this reference plane needs to move across 150. So
Oh, you put 150.
so 11,650 is what it'll become.
Which reference plane it is?
So the vertical one at the end on the left.
And then you do the line.
So it becomes 11,650. Oh yeah, I'll go through that with you in a second, but that's fine. It won't take long to get that in there. You'll see. So, so I'll just use a line. Yeah. Oh look, you'll be able to do them. It won't take very long when you. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just use a line now.
Yeah, click on the rest of the
Yep.
plane,
Choose those things.
and then choose the interior wall.
Exactly.
This is the front. So everything gets extended, all the windows, all the stairs, they all
Yeah.
come down.
That's right.
Do you change the dimensions when you do a line? Oh, that didn't work.
So
You change the dimensions.
that's right, and then I did a line. That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I'll just do the final step, and that'll be it for now. So I'm just going to go into the south elevation, and I'll do this fairly quickly because it's basically the same as what you did before, so it's good to try this on your own. But basically there I'm going to use move with this roof selected, move button, snapping to the corner there, and then I'm going to come down to the top of the wall. So it lines up exactly. So you see that it should line up on the other corner, and looking at it in 3D, we can see it sits right over the building.
So